So yesterday we started the seminar on how to attain the bliss of chanting. And we gave an introduction yesterday. Does someone remember something about yesterday? Whatever you remember. You remember something? Those who were here.
The name is completely spiritual.
The name of Krishna is non-different from Krishna. Spiritual. Yes?
The chanting of the Hare Krishna mantra is in several places mentioned in the Bhagavad Gita.
Yeah. 3 places we mentioned.
Yeah. In 3 places. Yajnanam Japa Yajna 10:25. Then 11:34. The world rejoices upon hearing my name.
Yeah.
And then as he answered in himself, Satatam Tirtayam
9:14. These are the exact references. So Prabhupada said our movement is based on the authority of Bhagavad Gita. So that's clear. Anything else you remember? Golokera Premadana Harinam Sankirtan. Well, who wrote this? Narottam Das Thakur.
Yeah. It comes from Goloka and it takes us to Goloka.
Yeah. There's one stage between. It comes from Golok, from the spiritual world. It was brought to us by the master of Golok, Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. And he ordered Srila Prabhupada to bring us to us. Otherwise we won't get it. And by the chanting of the holy name, you go back to Golok, if you attain that perfection. But to attain that perfection, we must chant the holy name in the correct mood. What was the correct mood of the chanting of the holy name? Vishanechana Tauravesaishana Amanana Manadanya Kirtanya Sadari Nadanam Najanam Nasundarim Kavtapashe Sakame Mama Chamame Chamameshvare Bhavata Bhakti Ahaitakitvayi. Verse 3 and 4 of Sikshastakam. This very important, that being more humble than a straw in the street, more tolerant than a tree, devoid of all prestige, ready to give all honor to others. In that state of mind, one can chant the holy name constantly, but one should also not want wealth, not want followers, not want relationships with the opposite sex. One should also not want liberation. That just wanting to serve Krishna. That is pure devotional service. Other forms of devotional service, but that's pure devotional service. If we chant in that mood, then Krishna will reciprocate. And the holy name is non-different from Krishna. It's as powerful as Krishna. But these powers will only be manifest to us if we chant in the correct mood. That's important. Okay? So that's more or less what we discussed. It comes from Golok. And that, yes, that's... So the holy name, when chanted, has a transformative effect. And that, so why do we get this body? Because of our karma from our previous lives. The body is a manifestation of our karma from previous lives. that the chanting of the holy name offers us an opportunity to become free from all this karma. That's the first effect of chanting the holy name with the appropriate mindset. That is mentioned in the Padma Purana. Everything is based on the scriptures. Aparabda palampapam kutam bijam phalamukam kamanaiva praliyate Vishnu bhakti ratatmadam. For those who are engaged in devotional service, all reactions, whether fructified, phalamukam, in stock aparabda, on the way of developing seeds, kutam, or already in the form of a seed, gradually vanish. That's one effect. It frees us from our karma. Other effects? Someone know other effects of the chanting of the holy name?
Ignorance is destroyed.
Please?
Ignorance is destroyed.
Ignorance is destroyed. We come out of illusion. That's the first thing. Because we identify ourselves with our physical bodies. We think we are old, or middle class, or we may think we are a child of such parents, a resident of a certain city, or I'm a teacher, that by all these identifications we experience fear, anxiety, but all these designations are fleeting, temporary. All these designations are illusory, because the true self, the eternal soul within the body, is none of these. Material existence is a dream born out of ignorance, an illusion. Unless we come to Krishna conscious, we cannot be freed from that dream. So the chanting frees us from illusion. So the soul in reality is transcendental to this world and all these designations. Our existence in this world is illusion, born of ignorance and delusion, that we remain trapped in this dreamlike stage unless we come to Krishna consciousness. So, chanting of the holy names bestows liberation from all these shackles of material existence. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, material existence is dukkha langama shashvatam. It's permanent, it's temporary, full of misery. But the devotional service to Krishna, especially the chanting of the holy name, has the potency to lift us out of the cycle of birth, death, old age and disease. Krishna mentions that in Bhagavad Gita, in different verses. Yetu sarvani karmani mai sanyasya matpara ananyane viyogina mam dayanta upashate teshamam samudartha mrityu samsara sagrat bhavamina chirapartha maya vasita shetasham. Krishna says, those who worship me are completely devoted to me without deviation, who are engaged in devotional service and will meditate on me, who fix their mind on me. For them, I am the deliverer from the ocean of birth and death. You see the picture there, the devotee in the ocean, and there the Lord of Garuda. On Garuda picks up the devotee from the ocean of birth and death. But these are all results of the chanting of the holy name. But Haridas Thakur said, these are not the true results. What is the true result of the chanting? Love of God. That the true results of the chanting of the holy names is the awakening of ecstatic love for Krishna's lotus feet. So that's the end of the introduction. Now we go more into the practical field. And so in Harinam Sintamani, there Bhaktivinoda Thakur mentions 3 stages of the holy name. What are these 3 stages? Yeah, that's the Sanskrit. That Aparat, Namavas, and Sudanam. 3 stages. Aparat means one performs the offenses against the holy name. These are offenses against Krishna, offenses against the holy name. We recited them this morning, these 10 offenses. What is the first offense? Yes, that blaspheming devotees who dedicate their lives for the propagation of the holy names. This verse, our Acharya said, this first offense is related to the 3rd offense. What's the 3rd offense? Disobey the spiritual master. Guru avakyam, not following the instructions of the spiritual master. And that. So that's the first stage. If you chant in aparat, then what is the effect of the holy name?
The material desires will be fulfilled.
That may be, yes. That's possible.
You become crooked.
Crooked.
It helps you to come to the next stage if you keep chanting.
Okay, that's a good positive point. If you keep chanting, you will come to the next stage. Keep on chanting. About these material desires, if one chants really with that objective to fulfill one's material desires, then Krishna may fulfill your material desires, but that's the only thing you get. So yes, but then you have Namabhas. Namabhas is called the clearing stage. It's called also Anartha Nivritti, purification of the heart. How do you know you are chanting in Namabhas? Your heart is become purified? What's the symptom? How do you know?
You feel more blissful. You feel more blissful.
Feel more blissful.
Steady in devotional service.
Steady in devotional service.
You're more concentrated on the holy name.
More concentrated, yeah.
You feel more guided.
Guided.
You get attracted to the scripture.
Attracted to the scripture. A lot of points are made. We will look at a few of them. You want to know what Haridas Thakur says? Haridas Thakur says you are you are in Namabas, when your taste for chanting increases, taste comes for chanting. You want to chant more and more. Taste comes. Ruchi, that's after liberation. That's something completely different. Completely different. No direct relationship with Ruchi.
But we translate also as taste. That's correct.
Taste, yeah.
So
Taste is...
what's the difference between the taste in this stage and then the ruchi in the other stage?
Ruchi is after liberation. After liberation, you become naturally attracted to Krishna. And your mind focuses on Krishna and nothing else anymore in Ruchi. There is no deviation anymore. 24 hours in that, it's different. That's Ruchi. That's after liberation, a very high stage. Then you are on your way, sure, for back to Godhead. Ruchi. Okay, but someone said steadiness in devotional service. Okay?
Nishya.
Le-
Nishya, steady after you get purified.
After you get purified, but that's the next stage. That's the beginning of Sudanam already. That's the next stage. But interesting, if you are studying devotional service, you chant your rounds, you attend every program in the temple. We did such, I think last year during the marathon, we organized this here, that everyone follows all programs and was noted down on the board. And some were very expert in it. Very nice. That's called Bhajana Kriya in the stages from Shraddha to Prema. Shraddha, some faith, and then Sadhu Sangha, you engage, you associate with devotees, right? And you accept the spiritual master, and you learn from the devotees and the spiritual master, and Srila Prabhupada to his books, how to perform devotional service. In the beginning, then you start Bhajana Kriya, you start to perform, you start to chant 16 rounds, follow the principles, and you do service, attend the programs, deity worship, so many things. But steadiness, yeah, that's Bhajana Kriya. Then the Srila Vishwanath Chakravarti Thakur said it's Bhajana Kriya, this performance of devotional service. In the beginning is unsteady. Unsteady. You have to get up every morning before 4 o'clock. Not easy in the beginning. My Guru Maharaj Bhakti Charma said, I joined Mayapur in 1976. And suddenly I had to get early up. I was used to sleep till 8, 9 o'clock in the morning. But the devotees were, so I could not get up before 4. But the devotees were so merciful to lift me out of my sleeping bag. So it was forced. But then finally you come to chanting every day 16 rounds, you follow the principles, morning program, you become steady in your devotional service. Are you becoming purified?
Yes.
Yes.
Yes. It's less offensive when it becomes steady.
Yeah. So what's the issue here? What's then, if you become purified by doing that, then what's the difference between anartha nivritti, the next stage? How you go from to the next stage, and How do you go from apparat to namabhas? Very simple answer.
By paying attention each time you notice you're not attentive.
By giving up apparat. That's how you go.
You sincerely
By giving up these offenses, you come to the next stage. Apparat means offenses. You stop them, you become purified. So that's important to understand. You may have Nishtha Dabhajna Kriya, studying your devotional service, but still you may not become purified. Only a little. A few anarthas is mentioned. This is mentioned in Madhurya Kandambini by Srila Vishwanath Bhakti Thakur. Only a bit. The effect is very low. But of course, it has been said, if you continue chanting 24 hours a day, and you don't stop, you finally will come out of it, but that may take some time. So, what is the characteristic of one who is in namabhas or anartha nivritti? One's heart becomes purified. Please? What's the characteristic?
is the main criteria that is sincerely trying.
Okay. Sincerity. What does this sincerity mean?
Does his best.
You do what is within your power,
Yeah.
like Yatra Nishtha, to bring back the mind.
Mm-hmm.
And you don't allow it to play.
That's a technique, that's nice. But what's beyond it? What's really the basis to come in anartha nivritti? Determination. That's nice, but for what is your determination? What's the purpose?
For giving up offenses.
Yeah, but how do you come out of these offenses? What's the basis of the offenses? Why do we make them? Sambandha. That's the point. Sambandha Gyan. And that is what Haridas Thakur said.
What does it mean?
We are going to explain that. Haridas Thakur says the characteristic of one who is in the stage of namabhas, one who is in namabhas chant with knowledge of Sambandha Gyan. That's the characteristic. It's acting as a servant. Sambandha Gyan means knowledge of our relationship with Krishna. What does the spiritual master primarily give to everyone? It's Sambandha Gyan, it's knowledge of your relationship with Krishna. That is what the spiritual master gives you, right? Therefore, we need a spiritual master to get this Sambandha Gyan. If we don't have this Sambandha Gyan, knowledge of our relationship with Krishna, then what's the result? We make offenses. Sambandha Gyan has three elements. First is knowledge of Krishna. Krishna says in 3.9 Bhagavad Gita, no, it's not 3.9, it's 4.9. I think, Janma karma smedivyam yome vete tatvatyatvam punachama naitimam iti sarana. If you know my activities, my appearance and so on, you don't take birth again, Krishna says. First, you have to know who Krishna is. If you know who Krishna is, then you know I'm a servant of Krishna. Not only a servant of Krishna, I'm a servant of the servant of the servant of Krishna. And then acting in that relation as a servant, serving out of love. That's the third part. That if we don't understand this Sambandha Jnana, we make offenses towards devotees. We don't, because we don't understand we are the servant of the devotees. We don't understand the value of devotees. If we don't know really who Krishna is, then we think, oh, we can also chant the names of Brahma or Shiva. You make these offenses that you don't have a service attitude, and in following the instructions of the spiritual master, we make offenses to the spiritual master. If we don't understand that the purpose of the Vedas, Vedasa Sarvayame Vedya, is to know Krishna, we make offenses to the scriptures. If we don't understand what Krishna is and that the holy name is the same, that knowledge of the holy name of no knowledge of Krishna is the same, then we think it's some imagination, or we give some interpretation, we make offense. It has all to do with this Sambandha Jnana. So, to chant in Namabhas, what must one do?
Develop Sambandha Jnana.
Chant with Sambandha Jnana. That's a characteristic of one in Namabhas. Haridas Thakur said, chant with that. Yes. So, let's recap. During the offensive stage, our heart does not become purified of most of anarthas. It doesn't happen. Because the unlimited spiritual power of the holy name does not become manifest to us. It has nothing to do with, we may say, I chant the holy name and it does not work. It's not true that the holy name has all these powers. No, it's because of your offenses that the power of the holy name does not become manifest. So if we overcome this offensive state by avoiding offenses, especially these 10 offenses, and chanting attentively, then the power of the holy name becomes partially manifest. And it removes the impurities of the heart. It's only partially manifest, but so powerful it removes the impurities of the heart. So that's Namabhas. So the powers of the holy name are always present. But we only perceive the brilliance of the holy name when the anarthas are removed from the heart. All this lust, anger, greed, and so on. The lust, anger, greed, and so on comes from lack of Sambandha Jnana. We are acting as the enjoyer, the exploiter of material nature. That's why we are here in this world. So this offensive mentality must be removed from the heart. Haridas Thakur says, it's like the sun. Before the sun comes up, you have the dawn. It's still dark, but you see the sun is coming up. That's apparat. But then when the sun starts to become, the sunlight starts to come, but it's still cloudy, but the sun comes up, the light comes up, but it's cloudy, you don't see the sun. That is Namabhas. And when you have the full sun, that's Sudanam. But there are different effects. If you chant in Namabas, what is the effect of the holy name on us in Namabas?
Liberation. Liberation.
Yeah, you get purified in heart, purification. And when you are completely purified, you come to Nishta, liberation. And when you chant in Nishta, your heart is pure. No material hankering anymore, no lamentation. Liberated, but not yet self-realization. You have to go to the next stage. And when you chant the holy name in that stage, what will be the effect on your heart? What's the effect on your heart? If you chant in Sudanam, you develop love of God. And that begins with ruchi, attraction. And the example of ruchi. So one is liberated. Liberated means no material attraction anymore. You have no attraction for anything in this world materially. At least materially, you don't have attraction. Our example was Sukadev Goswami, who came out of the womb of his mother and was running to the forest. But Srila Vyasadeva, his father, had a plan, and he sent out his disciples into the forest to chant verses of the Bhagavatam describing the beauty of Krishna. And Sukadev Goswami became attracted to it. So what does it mean? He's liberated and he becomes attracted to something. It means there must be a higher pleasure than material pleasure. He becomes attracted to the chanting, to Krishna. The holy name is Krishna. But the process of attaining liberation from material desires takes time. It begins with chanting the holy name without offenses, and then we go into the stage of purification and anartha-nivritti, and that's the clearing stage. That's called by Haridas Thakur Namabas, and then it purifies us, and then the full power of the holy name comes, Sudanam. So our first point is giving up these offenses. That's most important for all of us. Unless there are liberated persons here, they don't have to purify themselves. But on the liberated stage, you don't suffer anymore. It's finished. It's a high stage. But giving up these 10 offenses goes hand in hand with surrender. Surrender. A mood of surrender. Bhakti Charamaj used to say, what does surrender means? Surrender means, let Krishna take care of me. Interesting. That's the meaning of Saranagati, taking shelter of the Lord's lotus feet. So once outside his room, Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj, who was the spiritual master of Srila Prabhupada, he was walking in his room in the temple, and outside his room, some disciples were there discussing something. They were discussing something. And Maharaj came out of his room and asked his disciples, "What are you discussing?" And one disciple said, "Guru Maharaj, for many years I've chanting these holy names and I feel I'm not making any progress." So Srila Bhaktisiddhanta Saraswati Maharaj replied, "To feel that you are not progressing is good. When you think you are progressing, I've become a great devotee, it's a very dangerous attitude." Of course, if we are making no progress and nothing is happening, then we must question ourselves. To what extent I surrender to Krishna? Because Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, "Ye yatamam papachite tam ste vachamyam." To the extent one surrenders to Krishna, Krishna will take care. So when Maya attacks us, it's due to our deficiency in devotional service. If we succumb to Maya's onslaught, it's our fault. Because we have not submitted fully, we are not fully surrendered, and therefore the illusory energy bewilders us. These are the words of Bhakti Charamaj. But when we are fully surrendered to Krishna, Maya also comes to test our devotion. By the mercy of the Lord, the devotee always passes those tests. When Maya comes, it is Krishna testing us. Maya is testing us how serious we have become in our devotion. When we are in the bodily concept of life, we only seek sense gratification. But when we rise to the intellectual platform, Jnana Kanda, we strive for mukti. We want liberation from this suffering. And we want to come from bhukti, enjoying, to mukti, liberation. So what is this liberation? Because Bhakti Charamaj was with Srila Prabhupada practically the last 6 months that he was with us. He was his personal servant. He cooked for him, he took care of him. And Prabhupada, at night, he could not sleep. So many times he was speaking with Bhakti Charamaj, speaking with him. And one night he said, there are two kinds of liberation, negative and positive. And negative liberation, he said, it's like a prisoner who tries to escape. Escaping the prison is the goal of life. Get out of the prison. Impersonalists, they want to get rid of suffering, get out of this prison, stop the suffering. Negative liberation, Prabhupada said. So the prisoner is in the prison and he digs a tunnel, or he tries to scale over the wall, get over the wall. But if he gets out of the prison, is he free? Would think he's free?
No.
No, the police may come, arrest them. He's not free. So Prabhupada said that's negative liberation. The positive liberation, that's the real way to get out of the prison. That there the prisoner writes a letter to the king, a letter of appeal. And he said to the king, I'm sorry, I made a mistake. I promise you, I will never make such mistake again. That I surrender to you, I will obey to all your laws. That and the king may, when he receives that appeal, he may say, okay, set him free, but rather than saying that, he will contact the prison authorities and saying, this prisoner has made such an appeal. Observe him. That watch his behavior. So the prison authorities start to observe him and treat him in a very special way. And and when they see that he's acting improperly, he's presenting this prisoner to all the other prisoners as a role model. And they say, you behave like him and you will get the same facilities. Finally, the king receives a report that is behaving well. And the king thinks, I need a good servant. Then the king says, send him to my palace. So it's going from the prison to the palace of the king. So that's positive liberation, from the prison to the king's palace. And while he's in prison, he's not really treated like a prisoner, but in a very special way. So that is why the ultimate goal of life is surrender to Krishna. Just as a child does not know what is for his benefits, but the parents know what's for the benefit of the child. And so everything what happens in the life of a devotee is for his benefit. Krishna knows what is for our benefit, even if I do not know. When a child is submissive, a child is submissive to capable parents, then the parents will make wonderful arrangements for him. So when we surrender to Krishna, Krishna will take care of us. A surrendered devotee accepts suffering as Krishna's loving hand correcting us. So this at least that was the realization of Lord Brahma when he took away the cowherd boys. Dat tenen kan pansen mixna bunjat mij vaat merkt. Yeah, so he said this first, his realization was, the best thing to do is, I patiently endure the reactions of my past misdeeds. Therefore, a devotee is never jubilant when there is happiness, or distressed when he's in difficulty. We find that explained in the Srimad Bhagavatam, in the 11th canto, chapter 23, is the story of the Avanti Brahman. The Brahman was from Avanti. Avanti is the old name of Ujjain. My spiritual master has built there a wonderful temple, a wonderful community, Ujjain. It's also the place where Sandipani Muni had his Gurukul, and you can visit that place there, and very beautiful, with a beautiful pond, nicely, and there are 64 paintings from 3 meter up 2 meters, very big, explaining the 64 arts that Krishna and Balaram learned there. Every day one art. A beautiful place, but this Brahman from Avanti, that he was very quite rich, but he was very greedy. He did not give his family members a pinch of sun's gratification. And he became very unpopular. And at a certain moment, by Krishna's arrangement, he lost everything, all his possessions that were stolen, burnt, taken away from his family. He was rejected, and he was begging, and but at that moment, everything was taken away by everyone, then the Brahman developed a deep sense of renunciation. He understood that striving for wealth with great effort caused him only fear, anxiety, confusion. That striving for wealth is greediness. What did he get? He got 15 unwanted things. Good to think about it. If you are at home, that we buy a lot of stuff in our home and then we don't use it. But we are attached to all these things. And all these attachments are cluttering in our minds. And if we chant, it's going to this attachment. It's going towards this attachment. These are the 15 unwanted things. Thievery, you like to steal. Violence, lying, deception, lust, anger, pride, feverishness, quarrel, hatred, distrust, conflict, attachment to women, gambling, and intoxication. And now he understood, Krishna took it away, and now I'm free from this. He understood, Krishna has been merciful, so merciful to me. Now I'm free of all of this. He felt, why is this happening to me? Krishna must have been satisfied with me. That he gave me that sense of detachment in the heart. So, the Brahman accepted sannyas, and that renounced order of life. He entered villages, started to beg, and he tolerated everything. So in 1088, Krishna says that I'm arranging suffering for these devotees so that they can become purified from their attachment. If they are too attached, then I take away what they are attached to, so that they enforce them to give it up. That, of course, Srila Prabhupada also experienced that. His plan was to become rich and give all the money for and support the mission of his Guru Maharaj. But at a certain moment, Krishna took everything away. And later, Prabhupada many times said, if I remember what happened, I have to laugh. And I always feel that is also been my fortune when I came to this movement. My first contact of this movement was the 8th of August 1992. I remember. I met Mahavishnu Goswami, the old Gujarati Swami, who was living in London. Shiva Ramaraj had just given him sannyas, and then he came to Flanders. And my meeting with him changed my life. And I started to chant 16 rounds. And, well, I came quick to, after 1 week I was chanting 16 rounds. And 10 years later I met, as a brahmacharya, I met Mahavishnu Goswami in Vrindavan, and I told him, you saved my life. But at that time I was a businessman. I had my own company that I was an accountant, but also software programmer, that analyst software program. I developed software, ANSI COBOL, that was originally developed for mini computers. Anyway, that was at the end of the 70s. A mini computer was a computer that filled half of this room and was air conditioned. You have to go on and at the console give some instructions, and then you could go to a terminal instructions and then start a program. This was a big computer. The hard disk was like a washing machine. You had in the evening I was making backups. You have to open it, and you get out a disk. It's just a disk, plastic disk, and change and put another. And such a disk had 2.5 megabyte. Was big at that time. Anyway, I developed software for the first personal computers with 2 floppy disks. That one system, and first start the computer with the system disk, and then the data disk, and then the program disk. But I developed software for accountants, accountancy, bookkeeping, and I was very successful. But practically all accountants in Belgium, half of them were working with my program. And I was teaching them how their first steps with computer. This is a keyboard, that's a printer, and you have to. There was no yet a mouse. Mouse came later. Windows was not there. There was MS-DOS, and then ANSI COBOL. Anyway, I had everything you want. I had a big company, well, a small company, but successful. that and I had a big car, a BMW, that I liked to drive big cars. That and I visit them all. That, but then I started to chant Hare Krishna. Because I had my own house, I had a wife, I had two children, everything nice. But then I started to chant Hare Krishna. And at a certain moment, I got issues with my other associates, and I went out of the company. So I lost my job. A few things after that happened. That I got an intermediate job for some time, but anyway. Then my wife said, I think I need another husband. And she found someone else. That I gave all my possessions, the house which was fully paid, everything I gave to her for the education of the children. So I lost my job. I lost my wife. I lost my children. I lost all my possessions. What could I do? What could I do? I joined the temple. I joined Radhadesh after some years. Anyway, but I lost everything, but I gained everything. This was Krishna's mercy. I would not be here otherwise. So seeing Krishna's hand in your life is very important. That it's part of the surrender process. Krishna is all good. When you try to surrender, in that surrendering process, let Krishna take care of you. Krishna says in Bhagavad Gita, Ananta Sintyantamam Yechna Parapasthitesam Nityabhyuktam Yogakshenavamyam. To my devotee who is completely surrendered to me, who engage in pure devotional service, I give what they need, I take away what they lack. That the first time I think I read this verse, I was thinking, oh, interesting, now I will become rich. But Prabhupada explained in the purport, gives a different purport to it. That it's from the viewpoint of the soul, that's different. Krishna gives you what you need for your purification, not what you want, what you need. So that is surrender. That surrender must be there, and surrender comes through the Sambandha Jnana, knowing who Krishna is. That so important. If we know who Krishna is, and the whole Bhagavatam teaches us to know Krishna. First, the creation is described. Krishna is in his creation. Everything is connected with Krishna. He's in every atom that we have to learn. If everything is connected in the creation, we are also connected. But then we have to learn about the chanting of the holy name, 6th canto, 7th canto. Krishna is all good. That is good to the demons, and equally good to the demons as to the devotees. But to the devotees, he gives them what they desire, going back to Godhead. The demons may get liberation, but God is all good. Very important to understand. But whatever happens in your life, good or bad, is the mercy of Krishna. And that we realize to this Sambandha Jnana. Okay, that this was the first part, and tomorrow we will continue that dive more deeper in avoiding this first offense, especially. That yes, you have a question?
Hare Krishna. Thank you, first of all, for the wonderful lecture full of personal anecdotes, wisdom, and knowledge. Thank you so much for that. My query really comes from the demarcation between the grihasthas and the pure devotees living in the temples. You started your chanting as a grihastha and gradually moved into Radhadesh as such. And we are into the material world, in the corporate world, trying to earn our living and supporting families. Any prescriptions or any demarcations you would like to really illustrate on the chanting for the grihasthas and for the people living in the temple, the devotees living in the temple? It's always, people say it's a balance. Sometimes they say it has to be the same. But we are also stuck in the material world in many ways, because of many things. So would you like to illustrate on that?
Okay, thank you for your question. Very good. There is a book compiled by the devotees, is called Sikshamrita, Prabhupada's instructions. I'm a member of the sannyas ministry, and I'm quite involved in the education of sannyas candidates, because I spent a lot of time in the sannyas school, in going with them on missions, that many new sannyasis will come here, like Swayam Bhagavan Keshava Maharaj. I worked on his education to become a good sannyasi, and all. Also others, in a few days I've seen Govinda Maharaj, Saur Govinda, what is his name? Yeah. Well, he will be in Radhadesh also one day, I've seen on his schedule. That, but for 7 days I gave him courses to prepare. And one thing is very important for sannyasis, that they know the duties of Grihasthashram and the difference between how to preach to Grihasthas. And you find that in that Sikshamrita, where Prabhupada all these instructions for Grihasthas gives. And there are 3-4 quotes, he repeats that again, that whether a Grihastha lives in the temple or outside of the temple, they should have the same program. The same program. Morning program, evening program, Bhagavatam class at home. That same program. So that's ideal, if they can have the same program. We see in practice that becomes difficult because their material necessities, today the society is so demanding with all this and that. But still, we must organize our lives that we have a similar program that can be shorter, can be another form, but that's important. That's very important. Otherwise, the scope for making spiritual advancement will be very slow, very limited. It's the same program that they have to follow as in the temple. So we have to create this ability. Therefore, it's good to have lived for some time in the temple, then you know what's the standard and create it at home. That of course we have the internet, we can use it for following the class in Radhadesh or somewhere else. But there are so many instructions there in Shikshamrita. I cannot answer your question deeply in a few minutes, but read these instructions, it will be very helpful.
Well, thank you so much. And
question.
one short question is, you started chanting and you lost the material things which were very dear to you at that point of time, your family, your wife, and other things. Was there a point in your life in which you really said that maybe the mantra, which is the divine name itself, why these things are really happening? Were you ever disillusioned, or you were in a question that why this? Why me?
I'm just telling you, when I joined Radhadesh, Radha Chaitanya Prabhu engaged me in service, and I was so busy. And later it expanded. I became the secretary for the European RGB, then the secretary for the global GBC. I had to organize the GBC meetings in Mayapur. I was so busy. I was just so busy, but I felt satisfied, happy. I had no time to think about all these things you are telling me. No time for that. That's the mind. The mind. If you take time, then let's see how the mind feels about it. You're on a mental platform, then that causes so many problems. But I had no time. I was too busy with devotional service. And today also, no time to, just too busy with devotional. Hare Krishna.
Hare Krishna. Well, I also did a lot of COBOL programming, so
Yeah, okay.
I can understand. Thank you.
Hare Krishna. Hare Krishna.
I have just a simple question about the Mahamantra. Why are they double Hare than Krishna? Why are they double Hare than Rama?
Yeah, that's very important. Hara means the Hara. Hare is the vocative of Hara. Hara represents Srimad Radharani, represents Krishna's pleasure-giving potency, Ladini Sakti. And it's through that potency that we can contact Krishna. We can contact Krishna only through Srimad Radharani. Therefore, we are praying to Radharani, please, bring us in contact with Krishna. Therefore, she is more prevalent in the Maha Mantra, because we need that mercy, otherwise we cannot realize who Krishna is, who Ram is. That's the mercy. And that mercy is presented by Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu. That by the mercy of Sri Chaitanya Mahaprabhu, who is in the mood of Srimad Radharani, that we come in contact with Srimad Radharani, and we get the mercy of Srimad Radharani. But yes, Hare Krishna.
But if it's vocative, Hare is also Hari? Or
Yeah, Hari is the name of Krishna. Om Hari is the Vedas. Hare Krishna. Good. Thank you very much. Shantara Srimad Bhagavatam ki, Srila Prabhupada ki.